What's up? So I'm going to show you on here how to push a product on a Facebook ad. So if you have no experience, you've never done one before, or you've maybe been thinking that you're doing them right, but you're really not, or you're curious if you even are, I'm going to run through that real quick on here and show you kind of what I do when I'm pushing a product, and just like a single product. And this is just one strategy, and it's one way, and it's typically one of the most common ones. So it's going to be done using a post that's already been posted to your page. So in my case and scenario, it's this post. I already put it on this page, but I hid it, of course, so this is what's considered a dark post. A dark post is whenever you hide it from your timeline, but it still exists on your page. Anyways, I created this stuff here, this verbiage with a link. This doesn't actually exist. It's just all dummy stuff so that you can at least see, but just consider this as a product, and this is what I'm technically going to try and sell. So I just put here, you want to always use an emoji or two or something like that. It's just a little bit more engaging on ads when people see it in their feed. I put this here, and this text right here that says sold out. You can do that through a font changer, and the one that I go to and use is called lingojam.com. You type in your text right here, and it displays right here, and all you do is just select the text you want to use, and then you go back and you insert it into the post right there, and it'll make it a little bit bold. Don't go crazy on it, because if you do, you could potentially flag Facebook's bots or have people flagging it as well. But I use it sparingly in little bold words like that. Okay, so I digress. Anyways, going on. When you go and you're going to create an ad for a product, you'll click on Ads Manager, create an ad in your ad account. You're going to get all these different options, and if you see right here, these are all different parts of the funnel. The awareness part, the consideration, which is the middle, and the conversion portion, which is at the bottom of the funnel. When pushing a product, typically if you got a brand new store, I don't necessarily always recommend doing a purchase conversion ad, but I would run a leastways possibly a view content or an add to cart conversion ad, because you need to start getting your pixel, getting some good data on it if it's brand new and all that. But a lot of times I will also, it's kind of contradictory, but I'll also just run a straight up purchase ad and skip the view content and add to cart if I feel like I've got a hot product and I can push it really good, really well. So I would, and I'm doing this on this example right here for the shirt that I just showed you. I'm going to be doing a purchase conversion, and so I just called this existing post purchases. So EP purchases. Move this. So A/B test your creative placement. This will just basically what it is. It will split test your creative. When you run it, it'll automatically run a test. I don't ever usually use this. I run my own split tests. Budget optimization. You'll hear a lot of people reference the acronym CBO, which is Campaign Budget Optimization. That refers to this portion. And Facebook, their ad account managers have been pushing it to store admins and owners a decent amount lately, but it's CBO or just budget optimization when people prefer. When you click that, it will, instead of running the budget on the ad set level, which will be on the next page, it runs it on the campaign level, and it disperses the budget accordingly to whichever ad set and ad is getting the best results for the cost that you're trying to set it at. So you either set the ad at getting a target cost or a target spend, I think is what it's called. It's on the next page here. I'll go there. So on the next page, when you select conversions, and just in case you're possibly wondering, right here, conversion ad, continue. It's set for conversion right here of a purchase conversion. And if your Facebook pixel is not yet set up, you need to make sure that's set up. It's crucial, because you're losing a lot of data that you could be getting on there from the ads that you're running. Now, dynamic creative, this is not so bad of a tool within Facebook Ads Manager, but basically what this does is on the next page I'll show you, which is the ad level, if you use dynamic creative, you get to use up to 5 headlines, up to 5 ad copies, and up to 5 news link descriptions. So you can test pretty quickly which ad is going to get the best results with whichever combination. I think the only shitty thing on that is that you don't get social proof on the post because there's so many different variations that are running. So if you get a good one that's running, it might have a decent amount of likes or whatever, and it's getting good results, but it's not going to stick there whenever you're running with your final choices for whichever ads are getting the best results. But it is a good way to at least test your creative. I don't really use that too much. I'll use it sometimes though, randomly, just to test, and because you always got to be trying to test and try different things. Offer. This is pretty cool because you can give an offer a unique promo code to your users to use on your store. So if you want to set a promo code that lasts for 2 weeks, you can do so, and you can give them the promo code, which they can redeem. They also get an email alert, which is cool, that says your promo is going to be running out soon, and they also get a reminder in their feed about a promo code if they did in fact redeem it. So that's pretty cool to use. Moving on to the audience portion, which is what aggregates the audience size right here. We're at 220 million because I haven't set it yet. So in most cases, when you click on custom audiences, you're going to have the audiences pop up that you're selecting in your ads manager portion. Well, not your ads manager, audiences portion of Facebook ads. So if you select an audience of people who viewed content on your website and everybody who added to cart, you can set an audience of people that only took that action. So this way, in your audiences, you can then create a lookalike audience of the top 1% of people that most resemble website visitors who add to cart on your website. That's a whole other can of worms, but just FYI, this is kind of where it pops up and all that. So under custom audiences, if you wanted to use one of those, like if I want to target the lookalike audiences, I'll click there on custom audiences. Always be sure to exclude. You click exclude and you'll have your audiences pop up that you're trying to exclude. So if you want to exclude your audiences that you're not wanting to show multiple ads to, like let's say you're targeting people who are 18 to 24, another pocket of people who are 25 to 34, another pocket of people that are 35 to 44. You don't want to overlap and have your ads being displayed to the same people over and over, and using the exclude part on custom audiences allows you to do so that you're not doing that. Location's pretty self-explanatory. It's either everyone in this location, people who live in the location, recently in. It's super easy to understand. But if you want to target only people that are in the United States, you do so there. If I want to target everybody in the United States, but I don't want to target anybody in Georgia, then I'm of course going to click here. I'm going to exclude Georgia. If I don't want to show ads to anybody in Nebraska, then I'll put it there, and it'll exclude the state of Nebraska from receiving any of these ads, but I'm still going to be serving ads to North America. I'm just excluding those specific states. Age range, self-explanatory. You're going to be serving the ads within this audience of a custom audience, or if you're just building out the audience yourself and it's brand new, it's a cold audience, you set the age range. Is it going to be men? Is it going to be women? Of course, you don't want to be serving up ads that are showing, bikini swimwear to men, but at least the ways I don't think so. And you don't want to be serving up Speedo ads to women. On the detailed targeting, this is a area where if you don't have any audiences to use, if you're not able to create a custom audiences based off of past user data, past purchasers, all that good stuff, this is where you will start to kind of try and hone in and sift through your interest groups to find out who your audience is and where you're getting traction. I don't typically use this one, expand interest when it may improve performance at a lower cost. The reason why I don't use this is because if I'm trying to serve my ads to a specific audience, if I click on this, expand interest, while it might sound cool, like, oh shit, I'm going to get more sales at a lower cost. If I'm only targeting in on people who like cowboy hats, then this one might serve this up to people who are fans of Kentucky Derby hats, or people who are fans of flat bill hats or trucker hats. So if I don't want to go into those niches or into those interest groups, then I need to select that, and I need to keep my ad very targeted so I know who my audiences are so that I can make better marketing decisions down the road. So if I wanted to only serve up ads for people who like cowboy hats, maybe I would select Stetson. Maybe I would do this. Future Farmers of America. Click suggestions. This will give you some additional insight on here. So I don't know what 4-H is. I would have to research that. American Farm Bureau Federation. Sure, why not? Livestock. Sure. I guess beef cattle. I don't know what that is. I probably don't think I would. I research all these and I look them up so that I know. I don't know why the hell Drake the Rapper's in there. That's weird. So I'm going to select all these in here that are applicable, and then you might hear something that some people refer to as flex targeting. Flex targeting is when you are narrowing your audience. So when you narrow your audience, you're going to flex target. And if I want to combine all of this stuff with, let's say, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, so what that does is everybody within all these parameters that I've set, except Georgia and Nebraska, 18 to 65, all speaking English, they have to like a farming page or a page related to farming, American Farm Bureau, livestock, whatever. And then on top of all that, they have to also be interested in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. So this way I know that everybody who is interested in this is the audience that I'm trying to select and target. Now, as you select and add more interests to your audiences here, your reach is going to be dropping because you're getting more specific on your ads and who you're serving those ads to, which also means, in most cases, that your ad costs are going to be getting higher because you're getting your ads more honed in and specific and laser targeted to who it is that you're trying to best reach. So if I click X on here and I remove this, my audience size is going to go up to 24 million. And now you'll also see that if you use a lookalike audience or some of your more custom audiences, this is going to drop down, and the arrow is going to go to specific. It's going to say your audience is too narrow or too specific, and it's going to look like you don't have an audience. It's not true in most cases. Facebook is doing that now as a result of, thank you Cambridge Analytica, all that bullshit that happened in the early 2018 February, March or whatever, that Cambridge Analytica did that data breach scandal thing. So now, in order to protect users' privacy and data, that's what Facebook does to kind of cover their ass, I guess. So back here, let's flex target a little bit more and hone in more on who we're trying to serve these cowboy hat ads to. Or, you know what? We're trying to serve shirt ads. So I think it'd be more applicable if I'm an entrepreneur. So let's try this. Gary Vaynerchuk, however you say it, Grant Cardone, Rich Dad Poor Dad, entrepreneurship, small business owner, whatever. So I'm trying to set some audience there. So okay, I'm at 60 million right now. I'm going to flex target. And so I need to have all this stuff, but you also have to like Tony Robbins, and you're going to see this audience size drop. Not sure how low. Okay, so if we flex target a little bit more, and we're going to search, we'll use a behavior. So on this one, we'll do a behavior for people who are taking specific actions on their device. So people who are engaged shoppers and have clicked on the call to action of shop now in the last week. So there's a pool of 366 million. I'm going to go ahead and use that. So it'll get more honed in. So now I've got an audience of 7.4 million. You know, I honestly would probably want to whittle that down a little bit more. Maybe I'll knock out one of these bigger ones like Gary Vee. Because I want an audience usually no less than 5 million. or no more than 5 million. Sorry. Entrepreneurship, knock that out. Okay, so 4 million, that's not too bad. Of these, like Tony Robbins, you're an engaged shopper. You click the call to action, shop now, in the last week. So, if I was just going to run this, then that's what I would run with. Sorry, I'm getting over being sick. So, my ad right now is going to go that I've set it for. Now, if you want to use this part, which is connections, you can add a connection type. So, if they like your page, or they're a friend who like your page, or the advanced combination of what I just said. So people who like your page, friends who like, people who like your page, and some other stuff, people who respond to your event. Most often or not, I'll typically use an advanced combination one where I'll select people who are connected to my page, whatever it is I'm trying to promote, and then the friends of people who are connected. Because in most cases, people who like your page hang out in the same social circles, and people who like my page probably would have friends that are similar to them. It's not like you're going to have somebody who's 25 years old and all of their friends are like 70-year-old grandparents. So everybody's going to be pretty much the same. I don't always use this, but I do use it in some cases whenever the situation permits. You could probably maybe use this to maybe people who responded to your event, which is your webinar. That might be a good situation. Moving on. So placements. When I mentioned the CBO on that other page, on the very first page when you're setting your ad up, campaign budget optimization, you have to be running automatic placements for that to be working. I'm almost positive on that one. Automatic placements. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure to optimize budget across ad sets for campaign budget optimization, you have to be using automatic placement. So I don't usually use that. I mean, sometimes I will. Again, Facebook's ad consultants and all that stuff, they've been kind of pushing that placement. But, man, to be quite honest, I'm not a fan of that shit because look at this. Like, if you click on edit placements, you got all these stupid-ass areas where you're serving ads, like instant articles, in-stream videos, and then the third-party audience network. Like, I just don't. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I don't know anybody who's killing it on Audience Network. I don't. No, I don't think I've ever run a case study for somebody who's really killing it on Audience Network. And if I'm wrong, link me to it. I'd love to read it and research it and try and use that in my strategy, incorporate it. But honestly, I've never heard of anybody just murdering it on Audience Network. So while I do sometimes click automatic placement and it runs it on all of these different placements, your ad, and of course your ad and the creative have to match up for all these different ones, because if I'm running feeds, then it's got to fit that. If I'm running Instagram, it's got to be 1080 by 1080. If I'm running stories, it's got to be 1080 by, I think, 1920 for that vertical format. And then right column, it's got to be longer right there on the side rail right here, wherever it would go. But most cases, what I'll do is I'll click edit placement, and majority of audiences that I'm trying to serve ads for typically are younger. So that means that most younger audiences are on their mobile devices. And if you're on your mobile devices, most cases that means I don't need to click on all devices and target people on their desktop, because most people I'm serving the ads to are on their mobile. And I rely a lot on first-time conversions. So unless it's like a retargeting ad, the first conversion usually occurs on the at least the first point of contact in a lot of cases. So that usually happens on mobile, is where people discover and become aware of different products and brands. So if you run your ad to mobile only, then, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. But what I'll do if I'll run an ad here is I'll remove instant article, remove that, remove right column as well, remove that. Marketplace hasn't been doing too bad. I've heard some good stories actually about that. So I'll go ahead and leave that on there. Remove stories. Remove Instagram stories. I'll leave the feed up on there. Completely remove Audience Network. And, if I've got a carousel ad that I'm using, I'll run a Messenger inbox ad. But if not, I'll just remove it, so I'm not serving this ad to them. And so now this ad is going to go to everybody on their mobile devices. And it's going to be served on Facebook Newsfeed, Instagram feed, and Marketplace. It'll also tell you that you're not going to reach as many people because you removed that, but whatever. You're reaching people on the areas that they're most actively on. Okay, so moving on down here. And also, before I do move down there, keep in mind the customer journey and where people are going and where people are during their customer journey. If I'm serving an ad that is, getting somebody to take a specific action for something that maybe requires a little bit more reading, and I'm not really expecting people to be reading that on their mobile device and interacting with it on their mobile device, then maybe I'll select and remove mobile and I'll only run desktop so that I can know and that I can be absolutely 100% crystal clear that these people are going to have their ad served to them on their desktop, so that if they do in fact click through, they're going to get the full user experience of what I'm trying to get them to take on a desktop. Which, if they're already on their desktop and that's where they got the ad, then of course that's where they're going to go to on the external URL wherever I direct them to. Okay, so I'm running mobile. Let's say I'm running feeds, all that good stuff. This is where this ad's going to that I mentioned earlier. Keep in mind, in case y'all forgot, I've been talking a lot. This is the ad for the shirt that I'm trying to sell. I'm not really selling it. This is just an example. So this is where the ad's going to be, on feeds, on Instagram feed, and on the marketplace. Now, here's something else you can do. Let's be honest. Android users, sorry. iPhone users have better aesthetics. It is what it is. iPhone users are proven to spend more, and Android phone users are a little bit cheaper. And that's not me. It's not a guesstimate. That's just what the data says from multiple research reports. You can Google it, or for whatever the affinity that users that have iPhones are versus Android phone users. But if my product that I'm selling is maybe a more expensive product, like let's say I'm selling let's say I'm selling Louis Vuitton or Gucci, it's a little bit more higher end. I might want to only serve my ad to people who have iPhones. So that's where I would do that right here. I'll go to all mobile devices. I'll select iOS devices only. I'm going to remove iPods because I don't know anybody that's purchasing on an iPod. I don't know how the hell you do that. And sometimes I'll remove iPads too. It's a bit more expensive to serve people ads on iPads, and not a lot are really exploring too much on iPads. OS version, which is the operating system, I'll usually go 5.0 and up. Sometimes I might think about going 4.0 just when I want to, try different things. I don't use Wi-Fi connected too often, but keep in mind, if somebody is researching or thinking about a brand and they're getting your ad and you want to hit them when they're, think about it, you're relaxed. When are you relaxed on your phone, screwing around, scrolling? Usually when you're at home, not when you're in traffic and you're on your phone and you see an ad and, oh shit, I got to take a turn. And then you close your phone out and your mom calls and, you just got served that ad and I paid for it. And you were potentially going to buy it, but you just didn't because of the situation. Or maybe you were about to buy and you didn't have your credit card on you. You had to go get it. So if you think about this is when people are kind of chilling. They're at home. They're relaxed. They're on their Wi-Fi. Or they're at work. They're not working. They're dicking around on their Wi-Fi. So if you select only when connected to Wi-Fi, then of course all these parameters that we set, they have to like all this stuff. They'll be served an ad in their news feed only to an iPhone user with a 4.0 and up, and they have to be connected to Wi-Fi. So this is just something different to test, but you're hitting them at a different time and a different mental state almost. So if I select that, and that's only going to hit people on their Wi-Fi, my audience is usually typically going to get a little bit smaller. So I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to that, but my audience is dropping when I'm getting more narrowed in on these devices. So let's go back to all mobile devices. We're at 4 million because it looks like 900,000 just got eliminated by selecting iOS only. If I go with Android only, then it's going to eliminate more people once I push off that tab. It looks like a lot of people. So this gives you a little bit insight as well, because look, if I select only iOS devices, my pool is 3.1 million, and that's 3.1 million of people that are within these parameters. Entrepreneur likes rich, or basically entrepreneur, a business owner likes rich dad or poor dad or small business owner. They also like Tony Robbins, and they're also an engaged shopper who clicked the shop now action in the last week. 3.1 million people, and this is for an iPhone. If I go down here and I select instead Android, select Android, then that's 1.7 million. So kind of goes to show you that's kind of interesting, because 1.7 million people versus 3.1 million are in that kind of bucket of people. So it's almost like looking like more engaged shoppers who are entrepreneurial spirited have iPhones versus Android. I don't know. That's something whole other else to get into. But let me leave it all mobile devices. We'll stay at my $4 million person audience, and we'll move down here to budget. I've never used apply block lists or exclude categories. I've never used that before. I guess because I don't screw around with audience network and in-stream and all that shit. So if I'm going to move down here to the budget and schedule, this is exactly what it is, budget and schedule. If I'm going to set my daily budget at $20, and it's going to be $20 a day to serve ads to these 4 million people that I've selected, that is what it is. If I want to set an end date, I only want $20 a day. I can't do that until, well, I thought, run my ad continuously. I guess you can set it for only a specific period. I thought it was only for lifetime budget, which I don't. If I'm running a daily budget ad, I don't ever set an end date. I just end the ad itself, so it is what it is. Daily budget. If I select lifetime budget, then this will serve my budget over the course of whatever period of time I set it at, and you set the budget and total amount. You know, I've heard different varying reports on that, in that I've heard some people say that they'll run a lifetime budget. Like, let's say I'm going to run this ad for 1 week and see what the hell happens. So if I set my ad for, let's say $20,000, and 2000, yeah, 20,000. Okay, so I'll spend no more than $20,000 total. So that means that my ad will begin getting delivered to, however many people per day. I guess 51,000, 250,000 people per day, estimated 10, 30 conversions. So I've heard some people say that they've used this and they've got a shitload of conversions and purchases, and it kind of like amplifies and speeds up their progress on what they're doing. And I just heard some good stuff on it, but I've also heard some kind of wacky stuff. So I'll just be honest, like if I have an event or some sort of limited time thing, I might use that. But in the most cases, I use a daily budget, and I run this on continuously. So that's almost always what I do. Now, for a conversion ad, because on the very beginning you set it for conversions, I'm telling Facebook to optimize the ads for conversions. So they're going to optimize this ad to get me the most conversions as possible, because that's what I said. I don't think this is the right scenario to run a landing page view type of ad. You're going to want to run a traffic ad, potentially. I'll show you. You're going to want to run a traffic ad or potentially a reach ad if you're going for the landing page optimization, which Facebook will deliver your ad to the most amount of people that are going to click on your ad, go to your website, and the landing page is going to fully load, which means that your landing page will load, the conversion pixel that's installed on your website will fire off and will completely load, and Facebook knows that these are users that are most likely to load your page completely, which those are people most likely to actually read the content on your website. Whereas if you optimize only for clicks, you're going to get people that are very clicky. They click, they leave your site when it doesn't load in like 0.5 seconds, and you're not Amazon. So keep that in mind. Conversions, that's what we're setting it for. I'll just leave it at that for now. Conversions. Now, the conversion window is a little bit tricky and unique, because if you're setting your conversion window for 1 day after they click the ad, well, you better get like 25 to 50 conversions in a day and expect that, or else your ad's not going to be optimized. Now, most people use the 7-day click, 1-day view attribution window, which means that when Facebook serves that ad, you need to be getting, I think it's like 25 to 50 conversions in a week for a 7-day click or a 1-day view. So somebody sees your ad, one day they viewed it, and then they made a purchase. Or within a 7-day window, that's when you're going to get your purchase. And you're optimizing your ad to be delivered to that many people. So and that can get tricky too. And I've had situations where that does get tricky as hell with clients where, we're running a heavy AdWords campaign and we're running maybe like 30% on social media or social media advertising, and we're getting a ton of conversions. But the conversions that we're actually getting are being attributed to the search campaign for the AdWords campaign, but Facebook doesn't want that because they want to take credit for the conversion. So if they serve the ad and you got a 1-day view because the ad simply scrolled across your feed, but the user actually started their journey on AdWords when they typed in Andrew Molz shirt, Facebook's going to take credit for that, and it's going to say, hey, Andrew, we got you a conversion just because the ad floated by. It's like, if you buy a pizza from Domino's and you originally were on their website looking and you got there because you looked on Google, but there's a vendor or there's some company who came by my house and they put a Domino's flyer on my door, and I came home, I got it, and I threw it in the trash. And then the company says, hey, we got you a conversion, Domino's, because we put a flyer on Andrew's door, which, that is what it is. Back to the conversion window, I want to hammer this in. You need to get 25 to 50 conversions for your ad within that 7-day window. If you're not getting that, Facebook's not going to optimize your ad to its most effective, cheapest rates. Now, keep in mind, if you're not getting that 25 to 50 conversions, it doesn't mean shit. If you're not getting that and you're still super profitable, who cares? You're making money. But if you're not getting those 25 to 50 conversions and you're running it into the same week, then you need to kind of reconsider and keep that in mind and think about that, because that is part of Facebook ad best practices that you need to be getting that. Likewise, you could be spending maybe $10 a day, or let's say you're spending $100 a day and you're getting 2 conversions. Now, I'll do the math really quick. That's $50 for, I don't need to do math on that, but $50 for 2 conversions. So if I need to be getting at least 25 conversions in 7 days, that means I need to be spending 50, because it's $50 per conversion, 50 times 25. Okay, so that means 1,250. So for this ad, I need to be spending $1,250 per week, so I'm getting the maximum amount of optimizations and not the maximum of optimizations. So I'm getting the maximum amount of conversions, so that Facebook is optimizing my ad to its most effective rate because it's getting so many conversions. Okay, so keep that in mind. 1-day clicker view, if you think somebody's seriously going to see your ad and buy it based off that 1 day, they don't know you. I mean, you better have a badass brand, or you have a really good converting page, because most times that doesn't really happen unless, you're doing some sort of, webinar, and you already warm that audience up and you're sending them a retargeting ad that just says, hey, Andrew, don't forget, you got your webinar tomorrow. Click here to be reminded, and then they click there, and then 1-day click or view, you got a conversion for a complete registration conversion event. That would be an example, maybe a 1-day click or view, which in that scenario, I wouldn't be even running conversions. I'd be running impressions, so that either impressions or daily unique reach, so that I hit everybody I'm trying to hit to remind them of webinar. But again, I try and stay really focused on the stuff when I'm talking about it, but it's really easy to get into like a whole other can of worms with what I'm talking about, because there's so many different options. And I mean, look at all this shit. There's so many different options and combinations of things you can do to where you can get so many different results just by making a click. Okay, so bid strategy. This is what it is. You're either going to set it here for lowest cost, or you're going to run a target cost, which is kind of like manual bidding. So you want to set your target cost at, I don't know, 100, whatever that amount. I run lowest cost, though, and I just leave that blank. Some people don't, but that's what I do. I'll run lowest cost, 7-day click or 1-day view conversion. I don't touch any of this stuff. I don't ever touch that. I mean, that might be another example for a webinar, that it'll spend the budget to go as quickly as possible if I'm running impression ads to try and hit people, to remind them. Okay, so this is what I would leave it at, all that stuff, and you go on to the next page. Now, I did this for an existing post, and that's what it says here. So I click existing post here because I'm not creating an ad. This is the easiest way to explain all this stuff to you guys. I will select that. I select the ad here because I can select all different kinds of posts that were on there. Or you can enter the post ID, which, if you're not sure where your post ID is, you can go to your original page that has your post, go up into the URL, and then once that URL pops down, it'll have some numbers in there. You just copy paste it and click submit, and it'll show you. Now, another thing for this right here, and usually I'll run a shop now click-through action. Sometimes I got to screw with this, and I don't know why it does or doesn't have that pop up. But I'll run a shop now click-through action right there, so that people know that I'm trying to get them to click through and take an action. So they're already kind of primed and set up for that. URL parameters. So like if you're running people to your website from this ad, you want to know on your Google Analytics report or your data, you want to know where these people are coming from when you look at your data. So that's where this stuff comes into play. What I'll typically do is I'll click Build URL Parameter, Campaign ID, Ad Set Name, Campaign Name, and then Ad Name. This way, when I look at my Google Analytics at my data, I can see that the UTM source for the campaign name is EP Purchases, and that's also the ad name. And I'll split these up as well: the ad name, the ad set name, and the campaign name. I'm pretty particular on that stuff. So if I'm running an ad and this one's blue, then and I've got other ones, then I'm going to write blue so that I know on my analytics what's generating the most purchases or what's not generating the most purchases. Now, if I have a ad that's red, I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to do red. So that way I can tell which, what's working, what isn't.